Welcome to Prime Power USA, where America's biggest stories unfold. Stay informed, stay powerful.
And he would get on, and no matter what I asked him, he would answer.
Yes.
In a very sincere and thought-out way. I'd say, Donald, and I'd always call him Mr. Trump. He loved it.
Then he went woke.
Yeah.
And since he's gone woke, his ratings have gone down the tubes, and he sort of went anti-Trump for a couple of reasons.
It's models and a lot of these girls who work in the, anyone who works in the entertainment industry, really, I've only seen 6s and 7s.
Had The Apprentice for 12 years.
Oh, I know.
14 seasons, but 12 years, a lot of time.
Donald Trump's depraved, dark past is surfacing, and Donald Trump is freaking out and trying to cover up. So Donald Trump goes to his old playbook. Who does he bring in? Bill Barr, his former attorney general who covered up the Mueller report and put out all of those lies to preempt the Mueller report. Bill Barr, who found out about egregious behavior of Donald Trump in Italy and then covered that up and squashed.
Howard Stern revealed controversial audio recordings that he says show private and disturbing details about Donald Trump in Melania's marriage, including behavior that many people found shocking. Before sharing more, the speaker asks viewers to like and subscribe to support the channel's mission of exposing the truth. The story focuses on an archive of interviews, noting that between 1993 and 2015, Donald Trump appeared on the Howard Stern show more than any other media personality.
When journalists took it and made it serious, I thought it was a little bit unfair. Having said that, though, Donald Trump would come on my show, and this is why he was great. Most people, if they're having that thought, keep that pretty guarded. Not Donald. He was right into it. There was no filter. I go, Donald, Angelina Jolie, she's one of the most beautiful actresses in the world. She's a 6.
How do you feel when people say they don't like him? What do you wish they knew about him? That he's really a family man. He loves his family. He loves this country.
Investigations arising out of the Mueller report. Yep, Bill Barr penned an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal defending Donald Trump and the DOJ. Donald Trump going right into his old playbook. I'll talk about that in a moment. But part of that playbook, again, the utter deceit and treachery and doublespeak of the authoritarian, while Donald Trump and his DOJ are clearly covering up right now.
Donald Trump appeared on the Howard Stern show more than any other guest, even more than famous hosts like Sean Hannity and Larry King. Over the years, he spoke about 104,357 words on air, which is even longer than his book, The Art of the Deal. In around 15 hours of recordings, he shared many personal details about his marriage to Melania that some people consider shocking. In July 2025, during the Epstein Files controversy, these old recordings became popular again, leading some critics to question how real his marriage was, while the speaker also asks viewers to subscribe to the channel.
Donald Trump stuff is just amazing. I mean, throughout the book, it'll say, and now a word from our president.
Well, Jimmy, I never would have imagined that when Trump actually started to win, I never would have imagined that I'd see newscasters quoting my show like it was the Bible. It was just so weird. This is because I had all this wealth of material with Donald Trump, who, by the way, was the best radio guest ever because he would just say things that no one on the planet would say.
And he's still
saying
that.
it. Yeah. And so the book.
Has President Putin agreed to release any more Ukrainian children?
I'm working on it. And we are in the process. So I hope we have success very soon. I will keep you posted.
A child sex trafficking ring, folks. These are pedo protectors. Donald Trump and the entire MAGA GOP. You know what Donald Trump did at the end of this week and what he posted? He posted that he signed into law a Trafficking Survivors Relief Act. while he's covering up a child sex trafficking ring. Notably, he did not hold a press conference for the signing of this law, which he's done.
On November 11th, 1999, while Donald Trump was dating Melania Naus, now Melania Trump, he called into the Howard Stern show to promote a boxing event at his Taj Mahal casino. During the call, Howard Stern asked Trump to put Melania on the phone, and she was asked personal and inappropriate questions about their relationship on live radio. Melania said they had a very active sex life, and Trump laughed along during the conversation, turning the private topic into public entertainment.
So, I'd say, well, Donald, I think Angelina Jolie is a great beauty. 7.
Then he went woke.
Yeah.
And since he's gone woke, his ratings have gone down the tubes, and he sort of went anti-Trump for a couple of reasons. Mark Burnett, who's a great guy, and the producer and all of the people from NBC, everybody came up to see me to talk me out of running.
If I ask you some names, can you tell me who the great beauties are? He goes, first of all, straight face. The great beauties, Howard, are not actresses.
Let's welcome our next Commander-in-Chief, my husband, President Donald J. Trump.
Defend herself today, 'cause there ain't
every other major law that he's signed, and this is a major one. But notice there was no press around this one. It was a bipartisan bill, the Trafficking Survivors Relief Act, that he signed. But he did post it on social media. He goes from the White House account. President Trump has signed the Trafficking Survivors Relief Act to help victims of human trafficking reclaim their lives. This law allows victims to file motions to vacate their convictions and expunge their arrest records.
The speaker claims that this behavior is not love, but humiliation, and says the situation becomes more disturbing. They describe an interview where Howard Stern asked Donald Trump if he had ever touched Melania inappropriately in public, and Trump replied yes, while joking that he was usually well-behaved. The speaker interprets this as Trump bragging about inappropriate behavior on national radio and uses it to criticize how he talked about his relationship.
If he wins, God forbid, would you feel safe in this country? Would you stay in this country?
Howard, I'm doing everything I can to make sure he does not win.
What are these guys up to with mispronouncing your name? They act as if they can't say Kamala. Is it supposed to be an insult? Is it like Barack Hussein Obama? Is it some sort of
It's the same
slur?
old tired.
It was an emotional meeting, and it is captured on camera and available to see in my new film, Melania.
Why do you feel it is appropriate to use an official White House event to promote your documentary?
This is not promotion. We are here celebrating the release of the hostages of Aviva and Kid. They were in Washington, D.C., and they called me. They said they would like to come over to thank me and to give hugs, and that's why we are here. It has nothing to do with promotion.
For certain criminal offenses, I think we all view that law as something positive, but the fact that Donald Trump is using it to say, look, I'm stand with the victims of sex trafficking while he's covering up a child sex trafficking ring is utterly despicable in my mind. Also, you have California Governor Gavin Newsom, as Donald Trump was attacking him, posting this AI image of Donald Trump signing that 50th birthday letter that Donald Trump signed for Jeffrey Epstein back in
September 2017, Newsweek reported on old recordings where Donald Trump spoke about touching Melania in public, which critics said showed behavior he openly admitted to on tape. The speaker argues this goes beyond casual talk and says it was something Trump seemed proud of. In another interview from 2002, when Melania was about 30 years old, Howard Stern asked Trump about the age of women he preferred. Trump said 30 was the perfect age, and when asked what happens as women get older, he jokingly referred to age 35 as checkout time, a comment that many people viewed as disrespectful.
Donald Trump, hands down, whenever you put him on the air, now this is before he was running for president, he was an open book.
We have to talk about Donald Trump. He's a big character in the book.
because
He's
he
a
was
big character on my show.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
You say one of your best guests ever.
What's your relationship with the president not knowing he was going to be president?
Well, I always thought, that one day he might go and run. And I always told him, if you do it, you will win, because I knew how much people loved him. So, and here we are again.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So he's running again.
So he's running again.
Here we are again, the second time.
Yes.
So.
2003 that the Wall Street Journal reported on. But talking about the Wall Street Journal, which is still owned by Rupert Murdoch, you have Bill Barr, Donald Trump's former attorney general, wrote the following op-ed to help Donald Trump cover up his dark past. This is what Bill Barr just published on Friday. Why Pam Bondi didn't publish all the Epstein files in 30 days? The answer is simple. It was not possible. Let me read for you what Bill Barr says, and then let me very quickly...
Everyone in the studio, including Trump, laughed at the comment, which the speaker interprets as meaning Trump thought women over 35 were no longer desirable. The speaker points out that Melania turned 35 in 2006 and claims that around the same time, Trump had an affair with Stormy Daniels while Melania was home with their newborn son, Barron, suggesting this showed a pattern in his behavior. The speaker then says the story continues with more serious details from January 2004.
And he would get on, and no matter what I asked him, he would answer.
Yes.
In a very sincere and thought out way. I'd say, Donald, and I'd always call him Mr. Trump. He liked
Had The Apprentice for 12 years.
Oh, I know.
14 seasons, but 12 years, a lot of time. It was so successful. The big question is, did it make a difference? Would I have been president? A lot of people say they created this guy from The Apprentice.
To me, a guest who comes on and says anything that is in his mind is a great guest.
Well, this time I'm very action-oriented and mission-oriented. We had successful year in my office. We accomplished a lot. And it's very different this time because I have much more support than the first time. Right. And it's way different, actually.
Debunk it for you. Bill Barr goes, House Democrats, aided by a handful of misguided Republicans, forced passage of the Epstein Transparency Act in November. Let's pause there. Misguided? What is misguided about the fact that the Trump regime said they would release the files? They said they were on Pam Bondi's desk back in February. They had 1,000 DOJ and FBI officials working overtime, I might add, from March to May, claiming they were reviewing the files.
In January 2004, Donald Trump appeared on The Howard Stern Show and discussed his relationships, including comparing Melania to his second wife, Marla Maples. During the conversation, Trump talked about Marla's pregnancy with Tiffany Trump and described being surprised when he found out about it. The discussion then turned to personal questions about birth control, where Trump said he trusted Melania and made comments that were treated as jokes during the show, with Stern and others laughing and keeping the conversation light despite the private nature of the topic.
Because, for example, they were fond of quoting that Donald Trump had said something to the effect that STDs were his personal, very joking scenario. He was not comparing his life. It was ha 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 and this and that.
It's interesting how quiet and everything became. All of the mainstream media. There were a few days of reporting about July 13 event. And everything then became quiet. So I had a lot of questions. What's going on? This is not normal. And is it really shocking that all this egregious violence
and then they lied about it to try to cover it all up? What is misguided about transparency when it comes to child sex trafficking, Bill Barr? Then Bill Barr goes, the statute, by the way, didn't Bill Barr's dad was like the dean of the school where Epstein worked at? Anyway, Bill Barr goes on to say, the statute directed Attorney General to release publicly in electronic form with certain redactions all unclassified materials related to the Jeffrey Epstein case within 30 days.
The speaker says these comments show several troubling things. First, they claim Trump's reaction to Marla Maples' pregnancy sounded more like surprise than happiness. Second, they argue that discussing Melania's birth control publicly suggested a controlling attitude. Third, they interpret the conversation as being about control and accuse Trump of treating the situation in a way they consider harmful. The speaker then says that across multiple interviews, Trump made comments about Melania's appearance and body that they believe sounded objectifying, presenting this as further criticism of how he talked about his relationship on national radio.
Well, you know, I go into great deal.
Your history with him and how you know him.
Well, first of all, it's unbelievable to me, and I've documented my thoughts about how this whole candidacy even came about. This was a publicity stunt. I happen to have...
You have no doubt about that.
I have no doubt because I have some inside information. And the thing is that it started out with The Art of the Deal, the book, and it was a PR guy's idea. He said, Donald.
The attempt to end my husband's life was a horrible, distressing experience. Now, the silence around it feels heavy. I can't help but wonder, why didn't law enforcement officials arrest the shooter before the speech? There is definitely more to this story, and we need to uncover the truth.
This has required review of more than 5 million pages of material in linear feet, more than 3 times the height of the Washington Monument. Ms. Bondi and her team at the Justice Department have done a commendable job. Contrary to the fulmination of critics, they have faithfully implemented the laws as expeditiously as possible, given the Herculean effort involved. They've released 1%. They could be releasing documents on what's called a rolling basis.
Howard Stern asked Trump whether Melania was in good shape, and Trump said she was naturally fit and did not have to work hard for it. During the conversation, Trump made comments comparing their relationship to a business deal, saying he got her for the right price, and mentioned her doing advertising and billboards. The speaker interprets these remarks as Trump talking about Melania in a way that sounded more like describing property or a transaction than a relationship, using this as another example of criticism from the interview recordings.
I don't know if that's true because they chose me because of the success. But I was on his show a lot.
Yeah.
In fact, he has a best of. Did you ever see the best of Howard Stern? I don't want to promote it necessarily, but... And they wanted to do a 5-year extension. I said, no, that's actually when I knew I was going to do it. And I love doing The Apprentice.
Really? What? Well, come on. He goes, you know who's a great beauty? I go, who?
Goes against my husband, especially that we hear the leaders from the opposition party and mainstream media branding him as a threat to democracy, calling him vile names. They only fueling a toxic atmosphere and giving power all of these people that they want to do harm to him. This needs to stop. This needs to stop. The country needs to unite. And I encourage everybody to read my letter that I wrote on July 14 again, because that cannot continue.
In batches of 50,000 or 100,000, as they review 50, make the redactions, make it public. They're not doing that. Also, we know that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel tipped Donald Trump off to the fact that his name appeared in it multiple times in very bad ways back in May. Also, Pam Bondi said that they were reviewing this back in February and it was on her desk, and they have 1,000 lawyers reviewing this from March to May of 2025.
The speaker described his relationship like a business deal rather than a partnership, arguing that Howard Stern's interviews revealed this side of him. In another interview from 2008, the conversation turned to Trump's sex life, where Stern's co-host asked about threesomes. Trump responded with a joking comment suggesting a high number and added that such experiences were normal, which the speaker presents as another controversial moment from the interview archive.
What you need to do is we'll make a sort of a rumor that you're running for president. And Donald's like, oh. So all of a sudden he was being interviewed. The book goes right to #1. When he had a second book came out, that's when he decided to start the rumor that he was going to run for president. And then this time around, in the last election, the Apprentice ratings were not what they were.
When she learned about what happened on that field in Butler.
She was watching.
Oh, she was watching in real time?
She was watching live. It was all over the place. It was on television. It was on your network, but it was all over the place. And she was watching. I asked her that. I mean, I wasn't there. I was on the ground. And when the world started to, like, you could talk to people, I said, so what was your feeling? And she can't really even talk about it.
Traumatized.
Which is okay, because that means she likes me.
No, she
loves me.
And they claim they have 500 lawyers who have been reviewing it recently. So they have 1,500 to 2,000 lawyers and FBI agents going through one case of 5 million documents. Don't try to deceive people, Bill Barr. When I was a litigator, and you deceive people for your whole life, Bill Barr, you're despicable. But when I was a litigator and I handled cases that had 5-7 terabytes, which is more than the linear size that you just listed, with less.
The speaker claims that Trump admitted to having threesomes while married to Melania and argues that this shows disrespect or possible infidelity, while Trump treated it as something normal. The speaker then says Trump often compared Melania to his former wives, Ivana and Marla, and highlights an interview moment where Howard Stern asked if Melania was difficult, like Ivana. Trump replied that she was great, which the speaker interprets as suggesting that he valued a wife who did not complain.